Mark, as a whole, the defensive unit seemed to improve over the course of the season. They had a lot of experience. What are some things you'd like next year's starters to learn from this year, as you kind of have a lot of turnover on that side of the ball?
Yeah, obviously there's a bunch of guys. It's kind of a mixed bag there. It's about potentially 50-50 type of situation. Again, a group of guys that just battled. The linebackers were spackling themselves together to play. Every single week, those guys. It was unbelievable to watch how those guys battled to practice. Just to practice to put themselves in position to play was really impressive. Obviously, a lot of turnover in the back end, and then a bunch of young talent. So how that all comes together will be the exciting part for us of winter, of spring, is how those guys really just jump up and compete. A lot of times with guys that you talk about a true freshman or something, they need that, or a guy that's redshirting, they need that carrot out there of playing time. And a lot of guys did a great job in the fall of competing every day. There's a couple of guys that didn't, and we've addressed that with them throughout the fall. But for whatever reason, there's always a couple guys that need that out there to fully embrace just the day-to-day grind, and then just the year-to-year, week-to-week constant improvement is something that again, those guys need to just buy into.
Mark, the early signing day period has been proposed. What are your thoughts on that, and how it may impact the way you guys recruit moving forward if it does pass? Yeah, I think it starts 2016.
Yeah, that's another thing that I think is good and bad. If, again, given our location, we don't have a bunch of guys drive in for unofficial visits, and that's the biggest disadvantage for us is if you're sitting in a major metropolitan area or a talent-rich state or whatever it may be the case. A lot of those guys can drive back and forth or get to campus much more easily. And what I would like to see is have the ability to pay for those guys to come to camp. Have that be an official visit in June. Have a 3-week window in June where we can pay for those guys to come. Ideally, we would love to be able to pay for one or more parents, just as basketball has started to do. And then I think that would be equitable. If it's an early signing period and we can't do that, that then hinders our ability to, give those guys as best of chance or as high a percentage as possible to come to campus. So mixed bag.
Good time for one or two more questions, Andrew.
I remember last year spring ball, the getting bigger was the big talking point. Was they spent January to March kind of adding weight and adding strength. Do you give you guys a directive at all to kind of head into spring ball with this year? And then on top of that, how do you view your own role in this kind of off season before spring ball? How much contact do you have with these guys?
Mm-hmm. Getting better, and absolutely me first and foremost in every way. And then we have everything will be drilled down 100% to the individual. So it's, this guy needs, to gain weight, to lose weight, to maintain weight, but increase, the muscle ratio, all that, all the stuff that we'll sit down and talk to these guys, both from a performance standpoint in the weight room, training room aspect of it, the football aspect of it, and then the person, the person of life and goals and dreams and academics and all those things, and that's what we'll do a ton of, and then collectively, we'll have our normal deal.
Can you talk about Morgan Mahalik and Ty Griffin's progression this fall, both mentally and physically?
Yes, those guys. That's another position. Those guys, I think, did a I would say, average to above average job of staying dialed in. A transfer kid that's ineligible in Ty's case, it's that you never really know exactly where his mind is from an understanding standpoint of the big picture of the offense, and certainly the nuanced stuff, because he doesn't do it. He comes in and he's running the scout team the whole time. We do some stuff, probably I think a little bit more than most people on Thursdays and Fridays of getting those guys some real life action in our system and with our words and all that stuff. And they did well. They did fine, but that'll be a huge step for them is this winter, and then early spring before spring ball is getting their mind right to truly compete and to be in as best a position from a mental standpoint, a confidence standpoint, to go out and just play.
Mark, do you expect the ride you had, the success you guys had with the inaugural college football playoff, will that give you guys a boost in recruiting? How does that kind of help you guys in recruiting?
We'll see. You know, we've had a great reception across the country in terms of you know, just the University of Oregon, both the football brand and the academic brand, and so that's been great. And then we certainly, you know, I don't think it's not going to hurt us in any way. And then we just need to harness that to identify the right guys. You know, again, the not just the guy that's enamored by the shiny stuff, but the guy who wants to again come here and maximize his existence.
I'll wrap it up with one final question. Coach, you got to be a part of the first ever college football playoff. You went through the process. Was there anything about it that seemed awkward, or if you were a king for a day, that you would change in that process 3 days down before? I mean, the long bowl week, and then you come back home, and then you go back down. Anything about that was awkward?
It was probably awkward just in terms of the well, I don't know if it was awkward. The lead up to the national championship game was different. You know, obviously the last time we played the national, I can't remember, 30-something days or 40-something days long, you know, distance between your last game and the national championship, and then the fact that we started school, that was a weird vibe. You know, in a lot of ways, it was like just another away game, but you know, with ramifications, the way we had to structure it, and then obviously, you know, at some point we have to address the path to the playoff and the whatever the right word is, the equity of scheduling leading up to that. But you know, I think it did. I mean, incredible the publicity that was generated for this state, for our university. You can't put a dollar figure on that, and I thought everything from that standpoint was incredibly positive, both again from a university standpoint and a football standpoint.
Thanks, everybody.